What's going on, baby? Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Sooner or Later Sports Show. I am your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listen to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think you deserve it? Give us 5 anyway and gift it. So we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about here on the show. Of course, Coop is in the house. Coop, what's going on?
Football-related activities, a Heisman event. Sounded like there was some good stuff happening. This is going to be a fun week.
Yeah, it feels like we got a lot of hopefully good things happening, right? We had a commitment that came down on Saturday during this Heisman hangout event. We've got some good stuff coming. Okay, am I too quiet? Can y'all not hear me? Am I low? It may be me. I don't know. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got, like I said, we got the commitment from Wimberly out of Arkansas. We've got, Coop looks like your mic is low, but I can hear you fine. And we've got the Heisman Hangout event to talk about. I think we've got an incoming commitment coming down the line. So something else to be excited about. I'm trying to think. We've got a busy week in the commitment world. So we've got to talk about that. We got to talk about what Oklahoma looks like they're doing. And get back excited. So Coop, I know we were talking about it, in the green room, and we talked about it in text around Wimberly, man. Talk to me. How you feel about that pickup? Because to me, I think it's a big one. I think it's a really good deal.
You go into Arkansas and you pull away the two top safeties, 2 top players in the state. I mean, doing one of those is something. Doing 2 of them it's Brandon Hall. Like, that's what we can pretty much say is, let's go ahead and say that right now, Emmett Jones can do whatever he wants. Brandon Hall, pretty much whatever he wants. And then
Dave
let's go with Valai too, with a whatever he wants. And so it's great. The size is phenomenal. He's got he's a guy that can play in the 220s. He's looking at the 190 area, 6'1" right now. So that's great. And you love what he said about Oklahoma, because it's not just like, hey, some really good program offered me and I'm just going to take him up on it. He said, I'm in love with Oklahoma. So you hear that, and that's what you want to hear. That's why we have the soul mission. That's why we have things set up the way that you have. Think about this right now, Jay. You go out to practice and you don't have your stars, rocking the NIL deals and just sitting out and watching. Our stars are out there coaching. You hear all week and all during spring that Billy Bowman's out there. You hear that Danny Stutzman's out there coaching them up. That's exactly what you want to hear. So too bad we don't have a couple of senior bookend tackles that could be coaching up the offensive line. But someday that's coming down the line. So Marcus Wimberly, safety out of Arkansas, he is going to be a thumper. He is going to be that lunch pail guy that's a cliche, but you look at the order, the offers with Oklahoma and Michigan, Wisconsin, Utah, Alabama. You follow the offers. Stars are what stars are, but follow the offers, because you and I have made comments before that you could be a 5-star guy and choose a program over. Let's go with a 5-star defensive back choosing in Oklahoma, or a 4-star defensive back choosing Oklahoma over in Alabama or Georgia. I think in the past, when we get those guys not necessarily were dogs who came in and decided they want to come take someone's job. In the past, it kind of felt like maybe they chose Oklahoma because they didn't want to go compete with the other dudes at Alabama. So I'll say it again. If you're a safety or a defensive back, you have to be a dude, and you have to be of that dog mentality and willing to come in and take it. And so you see the attitude of Wimberly, and I see nothing wrong here.
Yeah, no, I think it was a good pickup because, like you said, we took somebody out of Arkansas that Arkansas really wanted, right? The big thing with him at his frame, the 6'1", 200-something pounds, there's a high school senior. I mentioned it in the commitment video. The man, we got video. We have like video footage and evidence of him throwing up 315 like six or seven times, right? We've got video footage of him squatting 405 pounds like 8 times. We've got footage of him jumping a 38-inch plus vertical leap. So all of this stuff, power cleaning 285 pounds. We have video evidence of him doing this on his expert account. So we can see that he is someone that probably is a little underrated just because of where he plays. Granted, he plays what, 4A Arkansas football? Whoop-de-doo. If you're a baller, you're a baller. That's all that matters. And as you mentioned, Brennan Hall is looking for those thumpers, man. I think honestly, when I think about the hitters, I think about going into the Peyton Bowen recruitment, bringing him in, bringing in Jaden Hardy, and then you go get Reggie Powers, and you start seeing Reggie Powers and his highlight video of just hitting people, and then you start going down. He plays multiple positions, just as Mike had made mention there. He was on the offensive side. He was listed as an athlete, but he's going to play safety. And so he rushed for over 1,300 yards combined. Well, he had over 1,300 yards of combined offense, like 15 rushing touchdowns. The dude he did everything for the school. So he's one of those players that just does it all. It's kind of like you think about like a Terry Bussey. The difference is that Bussey is there down in Texas, right, in Tipton, Texas. So, of course, he's going to get a lot more accolades because he's just dominating Texas football. But I think Wimberly it's not going to be, when you see him out there on the field and you see his size and stature, you won't be surprised that he's a Sooner, right? We're getting dudes that are physically imposing, and I love that. And Coop, goes to your favorite person, the Crimson Missile, Lewis Carter, right? When you get dudes that are just weight room monsters, dudes that eat the weights for lunch, yeah, this is what Wimberly brings to what Oklahoma is trying to do. And so I'm excited to see that we're going after freakishly athletic dudes. And this makes me think about, I forgot who I was texting with, but this really makes me think back to the John Blake era of Oklahoma, where you would bring in a whole bunch of like just athletes, and then you got to figure out where to play them. And it feels like Stoops is going to take all of these athletes and really start putting them in the places that we want them to be at. Like, yeah. Well, all you got to do is get out there. And he runs an actual 4-4. And just as Pops Powers over here, Reggie Powers Jr. popped in here, Pops is telling us he really athletic dude that he can play. His ranking is going to shoot up based on the competition he's got. The good thing is that he can ball. So, of course, I'm excited to see what we get out of him. And that's a good thing. We started off strong with the commitment. Now it's all about who we impressed. And the good thing is this weekend I heard that we did a really good job. So please, let me know what y'all think about Wimberly. Hop in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, and all that jazz if you're listening. So next up, Coop, Heisman Hangout. It was mentioned here in the comments. And I want to point this out specifically. Let me grab it. Y'all can see I'm traveling. So I'm doing everything from a tablet as well as a phone. But the beauty of it is technology nowadays allows for us to do that. Kim, you were the one to point this out. Thank you, Kim, for saying this. Sam Bradford was here. He was. We got picture evidence that Sam Bradford has made his valiant return to Oklahoma. Nobody can lie to you and say what? Nope. Oh, you tweeted it out. And I saved the picture because I put it as the tag for the video I put up earlier today about this event. Cool. This was it feels like this was kind of an impromptu event, not something that was fully planned initially. We brought in Joel Alley. She came in as the new director of recruiting or whatnot. She's putting together all these events. And hearing from parents, this is a fantastic event, and everybody loved it. Bringing the Heisman Trophy winners, bringing in, right? You can see Sam and DeMarco Murray together. Makes you think about 2008. Saddens you, right? Just kind of gets you a little depressed because if DeMarco didn't get hurt, that's a title. It's okay. It happens. And then, of course, BYU knocks us out the next year. I was at that game at Jerry's Circus. I'm still a little hurt from that, but I digress. Coop, we bring in a whole bunch of players. And so going down the line, defensive dude, there's a lot of defensive dudes that I noticed. What did you get out of this event?
You got to look at just the fact that it wasn't just a bunch of dudes from Texas and Oklahoma coming. I mean, they had guys from, Georgia and Virginia, and I mean, just way out there. I mean, so that's I mean, that's crazy. And then also the list continued to grow more and more and more, and they were getting other people showing up, which obviously is never a bad thing. So, but yeah, you're starting to hear a little bit about a couple of commitments. And full disclosure, if you tag me on anything on Twitter, I've been booted out of Twitter by the suspicious activity bot or whatever. So I cannot go in and look at anything. So I am doing everything, and of course Elon ain't answering my text messages. So we got to wait until I get back in there. But a lot of notes coming back and forth about surprise visitors last second, silent commitments. But when you have the Heisman hangout like this, you've already got on your in and around your program just a phenomenal amount of guys who did it at the highest level in college. Is it
Yeah.
still working? Is it still? I'm still low.
Yeah, some people are starting to say that you're a little low. But camera failed this time. He's going to turn his mic up.
I'm trying everything I can. Here, is this any better at all?
There you go. Is that
I
better,
don't know.
y'all? Can y'all hear him?
No.
I can hear. He sounds crystal clear to me. So that's I think that's the bad part. But
All
yeah, you
right, so
said you
let's
said
do.
you're very low.
Yeah,
Yeah, you speak
yeah.
up a
It's
little
just
bit. Let's go turn it up.
there's just I'm gonna be screaming. My neighbor's gonna come over. But yeah, no, that's. I mean, whenever you can bring people from all over the place, have the phenomenal talent and just the assets that you have between the Soul Mission guys like Sam Bradford coming back in. That's I mean, that's always just a great piece. So again, guys, more and more people get the chance to see what this coaching staff looks like, what it means for their children. And so when parents come and they love they love everything, I mean, that's never bad, right? And so because that's who you got to get in there. Because number one is I think that even though the NIL can get that whole play can get hijacked by parents at times, I fully believe that the thing that deters that in a lot of cases is this situation. It is the family environment. It's what our staff does. It's what they offer, because we are not going to outbid everybody. We have beat that one down, but we will go in and we will let the parents know that your kids are going to become better kids. They're not going to be one of 95 people who are knocking on the door for NIL. They're not going to
Right.
become people who are, I don't know, racing around their college campus in that area. So nothing bad. Like I said, there's nothing bad to see here. It is a family environment with a lot of people getting excited.
Yeah, that's the good thing is a lot of the players, like Wimberly mentioned about the culture coming here. He was excited about that. I've seen from Tory Blaylock said the same thing, and so you get a running back commitment comes in from Tory. You talk about Wimberly says the same thing. It seems to be the theme here, and I'm gonna be honest, man. This is, me keeping it a buck. When it comes to coaching at the collegiate level with all the changes, you got to want to be here, right? And we're starting to see that which coaches truly care about being here, coaching, teaching these kids, being leaders of men that they always claim that they are. It feels like we're getting to that point. We're getting to the point where Oklahoma is all these coaches and staff are showing that. So, but outside of that, man, so I know that we had a big group of corners in. You had Malik Hawkins. You had they go from Malik Hawkins to Kobe Sellers to Cortland Guillory. You had Seaton, Satana Stewart, another corner out of Ohio. There's a growing thing. That room feels like it's gonna end up being full quick, right? We only got one. We have what? No corner commitment so far, and I'm sensing that somebody's going to go ahead and pop off. I mean, Wednesday we've got Malik Hawkins, which that's been a heavy Oklahoma lean, and then we got another one on that one. We'll talk about the line in a minute, but cool. When you're looking at these corners, man, Who gonna come in here and take this job? Who wants to be here? Who we think gonna be there?
Let's go with this. I mean, do we want to just, I mean, start calling out rumors at this point, or do we want to
Nah,
so
we won't jump on the rumors yet. I mean, I know
okay.
you've heard what I've heard, so but we won't jump on those yet. We'll let those come to fruition. I put it like this: once crystal balls start falling, then y'all will understand what we say when it comes about rumors.
Yeah, I mean, so with some of the people that are out there, I personally like. Okay, so let's just go with Wimberly. Wimberly is not a 5-star guy, and Wimberly is not saying. I mean, I don't think that with the Wimberly situation, that doesn't mean that we're not taking someone else. So
Right.
remember that as we're going after some of these guys, these athletes, these corners, just think about the guys that we have on campus right now, because a lot of the stuff that we have on right now, a lot of these guys are these mutant freaks who can play, outside linebacker, they can play cheetah, they can play safety, they can play defensive back. And I say this is Brent Venables is going to continue to make this defense a bunch of guys who can tackle the run and defend the pass, both. You can't be a Deion Sanders, no offense to Prime, but we all know that when it came time to business decision, Deion was going to Olay and let a safety take up for him. Like, he was not making tackles. And in this world, I think Deion Sanders has a much more issues nowadays, because I think people would have ran and made him tackle. And so
Fair point.
you got that. But you look at all these athletes. I mean, when it makes me extremely happy. It makes me absolutely, because I think that I mean, if you read the tea leaves, Malik Hawkins, is a guy who is going to be a Sooner. Between the family, the legacy aspect of it, brother's already on campus.
Yep.
There we go. Right. You've got Solers and Guillory. These guys and Wimberly, all these guys, I want them all. I want them all. Have them all show up, because, again, cream is going to rise to the top, and we got to get used to this, because you're going to lose guys that you could not wait to see play. It's going to kill me to ever see somebody like, I don't know, like a Lewis Carter. A Lewis Carter were to up and leave. Like, that would physically hurt me. But I don't think that situation is going to happen with him specifically, but we are going to get most of these guys coming on campus, and you just hope to God that they all turn out to ballers and we can play them all. But numbers don't
Yeah.
lie. That ain't going to happen. When you're going to have a guy who comes in as a freshman and is already turning heads, and when he's getting praise from coaching staff, and he's hearing and he's seeing social media and everybody's pumping him up, that has a lot to do with how people transfer out too. But every single one of these guys are going to come in and compete and actually be, potential stars in the defensive backfield. So if you can take them all, let's take them all and deal with the numbers down the road. But if you get a few of them, I mean, I don't see a combination between Hawkins, Guillory, Sellers, Merritt, Wimberly, that you go, I really don't like that combination. We can have all of them. Let's have them all. Is that Pokemon? Got to collect them all?
Got to
Right?
catch them all, man. Yeah, that's definitely
There we go.
the Pokemon statement. So, no, and I sense that that's what we're going to go with. We're going to get as many of these good players that we possibly can, and of course, that's the cliche and just a simple way of saying it. We're going to go after all the guys, but the good thing is, defensive line wise, I know that we definitely are in the running heavily for the elite tackle in Trent Wilson, top 150 player in the country, one of the top 15 defensive linemen out there out of Maryland.
He's
He's
rising.
rising. Yeah, he's definitely rising up the ranks too. And so he commits on Wednesday as well. So you have Malik Hawkins in the morning. I think he's at 12 o'clock Central. Then you have Trent, which commits at I think 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. I'm sensing we can go for a twofer, right? With all the crystal balls, it feels like it's just something I may as well say is going to happen. Ready to just go ahead and hit that done button? We good? We just going. All right. Coop
Yeah.
says we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that then.
2 for 2, baby. 2 for 2. Let's make it happen.
I'm all for the 2 for 2s. Let's go for that. All right. Um, Let's talk about practice. Let's talk about practice, man. And
Not
I
talking about
think
a game.
practice, not a game. We're talking about
Not a
practice.
game.
Shout out to Mike. Appreciate the $2 on the super. Jaden Jackson, I hear, is playing like a beast. So it sounds like Jaden Jackson. I said Jaden Jackson, Reggie Powers, probably the two on the defensive side I've heard the most about because, yeah, they balling. Coop. Who else you hearing about on the freshman? A freshman on both sides of the ball that seems to be doing something.
Well, let me clarify something on Jaden. We did not want to be in spot to where we had two true freshmen leading the defensive line into the SEC. That's not what we wanted. And so Don't look at Jaden Jackson being praised as in nobody else can do a damn thing, and this dude's just he's the only one with anything to offer. Guys, he is playing better. I mean, he is playing at or better than DeJoun Terry. He is beating guys we have on campus. Yep. Guys, we knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen.
It. We did.
And it is not. It is 100% not David Stone and Jaden Jackson just being put in because it's the wave of the future and let's go with the young guys. Like a lot of people want to say, hey, if the vet sucks, let's play the young guy. At least we get more sucky. We saw that on defense for the past decade, kids. We saw that. We saw an absolute. No, Mike, you're good. I'm not taking any shots. I'm just clarifying. Jaden Jackson is playing like a junior, like a redshirt sophomore, going into his third year. He is strong. He has violent hands. He knows how to use multiple different assets on his body. So when you hear of guys like who have been on campus for a few years or potentially 5 stars from Ladder, and you're like, when are they going to start making their push? When are they going to get it in there and really start showing out? It's when you it's when you learn the idiosyncrasies of the position. That's why Bates is there. That's why Chavis is there, is to teach them not how to use their immense talent and God-given athletic ability, but is doing the tiny things, how to use your hands, how to have violent hands. When you hear Gabe talk about it with the offensive lineman, same thing. You got to learn how to the little bitty things, and that's what Beatonbow tries to teach. And if you just want to say, well, I'm really strong, I got good feet, I'm just going to stay in front of the defender. No, that's not how it is. So Jaden Jackson is an absolute freak, and Stone is right behind him. And so if we see a lot of them, that does not mean that the guys that we have on campus just did not do anything. They didn't make a jump. It just means these two kids are really good. And when you hear Reggie Powers, we knew this. We knew he was going to ball out. Eli Bowen knew he was going to ball out, right?
Which is crazy, man, because Eli honestly was probably the better defender on that team. It didn't. Geyer, even with his brother there, like people raved up about him as a junior. And so right before even Peyton got there. So, hey, man, there's a good chance that he's a sophomore at that point. There's a good chance Eli can come in here and wreak some havoc. The big thing is, of course, he's shorter. He's a shorter corner, but those shorter ones are usually the ones that are more scrappy. They're ready to fight. They've been fighting their whole lives. So you prepare yourself for that. But no, you made a good point with how, we're seeing the young guys and it doesn't really mean much, nothing to be afraid of. It's just that they're good. And I know Terry has been coaching up Jackson. They said DJ he's been kind of in and out, but, they're keeping him healthy and he's been coaching the young guys up, which is a plus. You're seeing G-Baby out there getting some good run. Yeah. He's showing us that he's ready to play. Yeah. You're seeing, so you got G-Baby, you got, I think Champ Sanders is actually getting some good reps too. So BV has been raving about him. So moving into the linebacker spot, man, and Mike pointed this out, which I appreciate him pointing this out here. BV mentioned this as well. Then, of course, reports that Allie has basically been let loose to run the defense and everybody looks to him for answers, telling me everything I need to know. If Venables has really stepped back like this and said, you know what, do your thing. I think we're in an even better spot than we were before, because that was the one thing I think Dabo did very well at Clemson when Venables was there is he let the defense do their things, let the OC do their thing. He stepped back and he just oversaw all of it to make sure he had veto power at the end of the day. Even same thing with Saban. Saban had veto power at the end of the day, but he let his coaches do their jobs. And when you bring in young elite type of coordinators, or either young ones or just elite ones or ones with a lot of experience that know how to adjust. The best thing about Luttrell is that he was a former head coach, so he's made those mistakes. He knows how to fix and adjust things. That's a good thing. So now BV can go from the linebackers to the safeties to the cheetahs. He can go hang out with the defensive line. He can go talk to the O-line. He's now that CEO role. But hearing about Allie, hey man, I'm sold. I'm sold on what we're doing here.
Well, number one, Brent Venables didn't have a headset on anymore. He's walking around actually doing the head coach job. So no headset means that he not only is stepping away, because I think he still try to do all that stuff with the headset on, but he's walking around and doing all this stuff and just letting Allie run. And so I fully believe that between Kip and Danny and Kanik and Allie, you've got enough of, you've got enough experience out there. And so it's turning into this deal to where once again, like I said, with Danny being over to the side, not smoking a cigar or anything, but he is out to the side, staying healthy, but you're seeing the simplification. And, Jay, sometimes you may be much better at explaining something than I do. And we got the same experience around it. And
Right.
sometimes that it just is what it is. You just are better at explaining stuff. But sometimes as people, we just need another dude to tell us the same damn thing that everybody else already told us. And then it all of a sudden clicks because it's somebody different. So when you've got no comment on that last quote, but when you've got Stutzman, Kanik, Kobe McKenzie, Kip Lewis, that's your pillar by pillar by pillar for your linebacker core. Now you also have Deshaun, and he's running some of that outside. I heard a little bit of him running some Sam. Heard him running a couple other things.
He was running wheel. He was running wheel. He was running wheel too. I know he mentioned himself he was running wheel on one of the interviews I saw not too long ago, which that got me interested.
Listen, when you got a humongous athletic freak out there on your defense and you're Indiana, you just say, go do your thing, pal. Go do it. Because the other 10 guys, they are what they are. No offense, Indiana. We love you, right? It is what it is. Come to Oklahoma, and Brent Venables is your head coach, and you look across, and you've got Stutzman, who's going to be a high draft pick. You've got Kip Lewis, who people are like, he's 10 pounds away from being a freak of nature. You got Kobe, who is saying, like, he could start on 10 other SEC teams. And then you got Kanik, who everybody is expecting, led by my buddy here, that Kanik is going to have the second-year jump that Stutzman had last year. Guys, I just fully feel that there's a chance that we look at this linebacker core this year and we don't understand what we're watching because everybody's got it. Everybody knows the defense. Everybody's out there to prove that they are the man. You fold in Deshaun McCullough. You fold in Crimson Missile Lewis Carter. You get Pachotti back healthy. You get a couple of these other freak in-betweeners like Taylor Heim and Taylor Wine, and you eventually got to look at which one of these cars you want to drive. You can't drive them all at the same time. Yep. And so let's just go with this. Let's go with, do you remember the point to where we had Baker, Kyler, and I think Austin Kendall at quarterback all at the same time, right? Like, yeah, what's the stuff you see on social media? You gotta start one, bench one, and cut one. Mm-hmm. We're getting there. We're getting into that deal to where it is absolutely that if Kanik makes the jump and we see Kanik look 80% of what Stutzman was last year, Jay, do you fully understand like what that means for this defense? Like, we had one All-American linebacker going out there, and we were stoked. 2, potentially 3, 4, get a little LeBron, 5, 6. I don't know. It's amazing. And then you match it in the corners, and you match it in the safeties, and then you match it with potential on the defensive line. Guys, we're about to see us probably the best defense we've seen in 20 years plus.
I can see that. This feels like we're going into those late 2000s defense, right? This feels like a Brent Venables setup and build. Now we just got to watch them execute, which, again, I think we are. And, Mike, I'm with you here. I mean, we made you a believer. I could totally see it. Thank you. That is definitely what we're hoping to do. And I put it like this. I don't think Kanik starts next season. I think that your starting linebackers will be Stutzman and Kip Lewis. I think Kip Lewis is at that point where he's able to do it. So once you sub one out, you bring in a Kanik, you bring in a McKenzie, you bring in a Lewis Carter. I do think we're going to go deeper in the linebacker rotation this coming season, than we did last year. I do expect to see Lewis Carter play with Kobe, as well as Kanik, Stutzman, and Kip. And then I think Deshaun McCullough is going to rotate between the two. So, Apache, to kind of answer your question here around specializing, well, their focus with him is still him being a cheetah, right? But they're letting him play at will. And he mentioned I think it was on one of the Red Dirt Media, Red Dirt Rambles or whatever, with the players. And he mentioned, he was like, he feels a little bit more natural at the will. But that's also because when he, like you said, Coop, when he was at Indiana, that's all he was doing. It was like, you go out there and just go play. And so they had him at will, and he would come up on the edge, and the next thing you know, he's blitzing on a regular basis, owning dudes. And so the good thing is he's healthy. He mentioned he had to have knee surgery after Bedlam. Well, he had 2 knee injuries, basically, because of chop blocks. And that's the problem you run into with someone with his size. So, Apache, to kind of point out what you're saying, the one problem you run into dudes with his measurables is everybody going to chop block him because they know he's a threat, right? He's a player that they have to key in on because they're like, dude, he's like 6'5". He may not be more than he's about 230, maybe 240, but he's fast and he's strong. And we've seen him snatch dudes up in the Big Ten. So you get a lot of chop blocks, you're going to start seeing a bunch of injuries. And so he dealt with that last year, but that's the thing. The good thing is that we'll be able to go deeper into the rotation and everything. And so question here mentioned about Boganowski. Bogo's going to be playing. He's probably going to be a cheetah. Since he's a cheetah role. I think he's about a year, maybe 2 years out before we really see him heavy on the field. But he may work his way up. I think I know they want to size him up, get him a little bit thicker, especially because they're going to have him on a load. But Reggie Powers is already out there. I mean, they're trying to keep him from gaining more weight. He's already 205. Dude's not even 18 yet, Coop. He's not even 18. I think he turns 18 this summer. I think Pops mentioned he turns 18 this summer. When I saw that, like, that is dumb. That's going to be gone. So you'll have Boganowski with Powers building themselves up on the freshman secondary. It's going to be done. Billy Bowman out there. He hasn't practiced. He's coaching right now because, they're trying to keep him healthy. I don't know what to say no more, Coop. It's going to be fun.
Jay,
defense is going to be it.
Jay, yeah, if you just take a look, just on the defensive side, so we also haven't talked about Devon Sears. Devon Sears is actually starting to show that he might be a player on the defense too. And I listen, if you got 6-7 dudes on the defensive line, you can really just dip into. That's good. That's good. But you also got Caden Willard, who's starting to really get the oomph going on. And guys, I don't know what's going on with the mic, so I apologize. I'm potentially yelling at this point. It's never been this bad, so I don't know what's going on. So catch this.
It's just today. It's because I'm traveling. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's my fault.
Boganowski, Jaden Hardy, Eric McCarty, Reggie Powers, James Nesta, Taylor Heim, Taylor Wine, Danny Okoye, Nigel Smith. Guys, you hear these guys, and they could play one of 3 or 4 positions. So that's never bad. And I believe Boganowski's actually been on some of the films already. He's going to be a guy, again, you got to try to find out where you put these guys who are, right in between a lot of different stuff, because it's not that if you put him at safety, he's not going to be, he's not going to fulfill anything. It's just the fact that, like, you could put him at safety and he'd become all world. But what else do you got there? You could put him at an outside linebacker, but he could be all world. But who else you got there? Cheetah. Who else you got there? Like I said, I believe if Venables could play 4 nasty defensive linemen and 7 cheetahs, he would do it.
In a heartbeat. And the good thing, too, I know that Zach Alley in some of his offenses, he does run like a 3 safety high, especially on passing downs.
Yeah.
Guaranteed passers, man. Imagine you have Robert Spears Jennings, you're going to have Billy Bowman, you have Peyton Bowen out there together running that safety like that. And then when once you start to graduate people, you're going to have Powers out there with Hardy. I'm excited. But on from that, defensive-wise, I think we'll be fine. It's going to be the biggest thing with this defense. The best part is we're bringing back 78% of our production, hot, number 8 in the country, number 1 in the SEC. So bringing back that much production, we should see the jump in the advanced metrics from the 30s where we are now up into the 10s, right? And we're definitely going to be getting some portal guys just to add additional depth, especially the defensive line. I expect at least 2 guys on the D-line that we're going to go after. Portal opens up in a week, roughly, and I'm pretty excited. I'm preparing myself to start dropping videos and just be talking about that nonstop because that's going to be huge. We're going to be definitely active in that. BV kind of mentioned it. He kind of talked about it, but I think that's going to be the play. So let's go offense, and then we're going to wrap up with this question from Keaton around 4 guys that we see hitting the portal after the spring game. That's a very interesting question. I've started. That is going to be the one we're going to talk about. PG, I'm about to kick you out of my stream. If you say that name one more time, I will be kicking you out because this is the 8 millionth time we've heard that. Pops! Hold up. Pops Powers just told us. Raise you up to 210. Reggie's up to 210. Are you serious right now? He's up to 210 right now. They let him add weight, bruh.
Hold on. I'm gonna ask somebody else on their weight real quick, and because I am very curious, and you know who I might be texting.
I know exactly who you're texting, but that is, that's bananas. They let him get that big. That is huge. All right. Offense. Practice-wise, man. I told y'all that this player, the minute that we went after, we got him here, and he committed. I said it on the commitment video. Freshman All-American, dude's going to be nasty here. He may be the next great one out of the Beaton Bow School of offensive linemen. That's Fabichi Wewu. Told y'all that. Told y'all that kid's going to be something. He's already turning heads. He looks like a leader out there. He is a freshman All-American. And he's going to be a beast. And so, Coop, you mentioned this, not having the quote-unquote veterans at the bookends to be able to teach the young guys. Totally get that. The good thing is Sexton knows. Playing in that against, Florida State. And then, getting injured, having to sit most of the season, but coming in and relieving Tyler Guyton when Guyton went out with the injury and then just finishing it up. Yeah, we got some good vets. So I told y'all what my offensive line prediction was, and I've seen a couple of other folks put out their predictions from the insider space. And it sounds like I am basically spot on with your left tackle being Big Sexy, your left guard being Heath Zeta, your center. Now, if Everett makes it back, him, but it's going to be Bates. I'm expecting it to be Bates. Your right guard is Fabichi Wewu. Right tackle is the other Jake, because they're saying that Jake Taylor is stepping up as well. I think I heard Gabe even make mention about, he's raved about Wewu the most. And he talked about how Ozeta has also basically the interior of the offensive line, the concerns are going way down. Now it's all about these outside guys. But the problem is, too, those outside guys are also going up against some pretty darn good edges. Our defense will be our strength. So to pass it to you, Coop, on the O-line and your thoughts. Before I do that, real quick to understand for everybody. Just because we say the D-line is out there killing it does not mean the offensive line is bad. Remember, when Brent Venables was head coach, Brent Venables was defensive coordinator, and Kevin Wilson was the offensive coordinator. Kevin Wilson talked about before the Tulsa game that they had to physically move the ball up and down the field because they couldn't get past the defense. And that was the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Sam Bradford and DeMarco Murray trying to play. We literally would shut down our own offense. Chess match. And Allie's going to start figuring it out too. So, offensive line-wise, though, 100%, as Gabe had talked about on Oklahoma Breakdown, he's been raving about Wabu as well as Ozeta. Said they looked the part. And if that's the case, our offensive line is going against probably the best defensive line they're going to see in the SEC, or at least the best defense they're going to see. So keep your eyes on that one. Coop, go ahead, and then I'll jump in here and answer some of these questions.
I want to point something out because I think Kim is trying to get in your feels because I think Kim's asking about Emeka Megwa. And
hey man, look! Don't you do it?
If you're asking about it, Jay, it's going to turn into a 2-hour-long show because
it will.
He is a damn muscle hamster. His knee was one of the worst injuries I think I've ever seen. I saw 2 years ago, right after it all happened, the report, and that was disgusting. Because you tear your knee like that, the amount of surgeries that he had to go through, you have to relearn how to walk. You have to relearn how to do a lot of different things. I don't think Megwa is a transfer portal person because
he ain't going nowhere.
He hasn't showed anything. And no, let me rewind. Who was the Miami running back? Was it?
Willis McGahee. That was Willis McGahee. That was the most disgusting injury I've ever seen in my life.
The worst one I've ever seen. That Ed McCaffrey on Monday Night Football was pretty bad too, but that was a broken leg. But it was wiggling around like one of those, janky car dealership balloon things. But anyway.
Yep.
So I'm going Jacob Sexton as your left tackle. Jacob Sexton is going to have to be. He's going to need to make strides. Now, guys, don't forget he is out of football shape. He getting back from the knee. It is what it is. But I think that's going to be good because at worst he holds his own and he has moments of elite that he tosses out there. Ozeta. I'm going to give Ozeta the fastest rising offensive lineman award just because I think. Once you've won a freshman All-American, I think, the shelf's set for what you should be. But Ozeta is tearing it up. Shout out to Mama Ozeta. She's phenomenal. So, again, center, you're going to go with Bates. And he's got to learn how to snap, and he's got to get better at pass protection. He is going to be good at run. I think he's going to be good at that.
So I know what Kim is talking about. So real quick, Kim, you're talking about not Oregon, it was Washington. You're talking about Gary and Hatchett. And Hatchett he's out with a knee injury. He's been out since he got here, basically. So he's been rehabbing he got hurt, and so did his little brother Landon, in which Landon had knee surgery. I don't think Gary had surgery. He just had an injury that he basically has to rehab. So that's who you're talking about. And so, yeah, Sooner Cowboys, he was talking about the Washington transfer, which is Gary Hatchett. He's not going to be ready to play until probably I don't think he'll be back. Probably fall. They'll probably sit him till fall because we don't want to. We don't. If he's already hurt, go ahead and let him get healthy before, and then we'll talk. We'll get him up to speed in the fall area. So I'm sensing that. That's who it was. But Hatchett and Megwa both did come from Washington. Sooner Cowboys. You're correct. Coop was thinking that was Megwa. I realized it when he said Oregon and then he went to Washington. He's talking about the offensive line because I was talking about the interior, who's here. But yeah, Hatchett hasn't got the practice yet. But he is going to be available. And he can play center also. That's the good thing. So depending on what's going on with Troy Everett, because he's having the surgery. He had the surgery this past week. And depending on how his rehab looks, we should be fine when it comes to what the depth looks like. So continue, Coop, on the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah. So, guys, he came from USC. Let's not hold it against him because at Florida, he was really good.
Yeah, he was
And
solid. Tarkin was solid.
as our boy PG said, um, you as our boy PG, you can't get really good at what you're doing, beach body, yoga as strength and conditioning. That just won't work. So, Tarquin is starting to round into some shape too. And I think that that's great. Talking to Michigan State fans, there's a lot of sour grapes, but Spencer Brown is a guy that he's going to have to. He's going to have to get better. He's when we had Phil Lodeholt or Orlando Brown, guys like that, they were good. Trent Williams was also the same way. They're good for 2 holds a game, but they were also good for putting a dude 25 yards downfield, 3 rows into the stands multiple times a game. Spencer Brown ain't that guy. So you got to round that up. But again, if you have Sexton and Taylor as your 2 bookends right now, guys, we're going to continue to keep on going. Yes, Phil out there at Colorado. But you guys just got to understand that we've got pieces, and they're going against an absolute insane offensive line or defensive line, and they know what's about to be ran. They know what's coming. It's not smoke and mirrors. It's not game prep. We've been running against these fools for years. So I'll say this, my first offensive MVP, and guys, get ready, because I don't know if a lot of Sooner fans know that there's this position on the field called tight end, and not H-back. That's what happens when you don't have a tight end, and not Stogner,
it's been a while,
because Stogner was a thin offensive tackle. But Bauer Sharp, guys, is, he is it. He's doing what he is supposed to be doing. You see all the plays that's going on. Guys, Bauer Sharp is going to be phenomenal. He is going to be phenomenal. So if you rewind, I believe it was Gabe and Teddy was talking about the last time when we had Braden Willis at tight end and aka H-back. He had, was it 40, 50 catches, 600 yards? If we get 40 catches and 600 yards out of Bauer Sharp, I think we all go this, because Caden Helms is healthy and now he gets to start practicing again. You're seeing Roberts, who is not healthy yet. He'll be on the field soon. I think he's going to be that second tight end. You got Fanuel, who still is learning how to play football, but he's great. You got Devon Mitchell, Devon Mitchell, who's 17 and should be getting ready for his senior year coming up, but he's here. So we're going to have a tight end room, and it's going to continue to get better, because with who we could potentially bring in the 25 class, guys, we're catching up pretty quick on the tight end side. So
we are.
But you're also, when you see a tight end like Bauer Sharp, when you see guys going over the middle, where that helps out is where who I want to just go ahead and call it. I'm about to call my shot. This is Jay didn't know this was coming, but guys, Jaden Gibson is loading for an amazing season.
We'll get to the wide receivers in just a minute, but real quick, I want to answer this question. You asked the question, Thunder, OU Sooner, what's good? How big is Bauer Sharp? So I'm going to go ahead and give y'all some measurables real quick on our tight ends. You ready? Bauer Sharp walks in the door on the roster at 6'4", 250 pounds. I know, right? It's pretty darn good. 6'4", 250. Devon Mitchell showed up on campus as a 17-year-old. 17, I keep, mind you. 6'3", 255 pounds. Frampton Fay.
He's down.
Hampton Fay. And he's down. Hampton Fay, the other quarterback, he transferred here from Michigan State. He plays tight end as well. 6'5", 247 pounds. Caden Helms. His hammy is what's bothering him now, but it looks like he's starting to get healthy. His knee's not bothering him. It's just a separate hammy, and BV said he expects him to be good to go spring ball. Caden Helms is measuring at 6'5", 240 pounds right now. 6'5", 240, right? Josh Fanuel is sitting here as we're getting excited about tight ends. He's 6'3", 243. Dog, just about all our tight ends are over 240 pounds. Oh, let me add you another one real quick, right? One that we probably didn't think about, Cade McIntyre, right? Good old McIntyre coming to us from Nebraska. He's 6'3". He's 221 right now, but he looks good, right? He's looking solid. Monty, what's Gucci, my guy? Thank you for pulling up.
What up, Monty?
We ain't seen Monty in a cool minute. What's good? But Bauer's big. He's 250. He's measuring at 250, man. He's bringing it, and he's fluid. Yes, Kim, point this out. The dude runs routes so freaking smooth. Like, and so as Coop jokes about it, I mean, he's joking while being serious. I mean, y'all ain't seen a tight end in a while. We got him. Joe John Finley's got something to work with, and the recruiting here is continuing. I mean, and you know who I didn't talk about? Who's hurt right now? Jake Roberts. I ain't mentioned Jake's name. Jake Roberts coming here at 6'4", 251 pounds. Dog, everybody's over 240 except for McIntyre.
Yeah, and
cool. What do we do?
It's, I mean, like you said, I don't know if we are we're tossing out that stuff like Brock Bowers from Georgia. That guy's a freak of nature, but Bauer Sharp is going to turn some heads. He's going to absolutely turn some heads. And what I like at this 100%, why I like this the most, Devon Mitchell is going to be an All-American tight end. He needs
he's
to
there.
Be in the he needs to be here and needs to get himself acclimated at his own pace. He doesn't need to be counted on this year. So if you don't see more than 15 to 25 catches out of Devon Mitchell this year, that's still a lot more than most of our. I mean, what is our second tight end in catches since we became fans? We've never.
It's probably since like Mark Andrews, right? Mark Andrews era. I don't think we had multiple. Actually, Mark Andrews probably was the closest that had multiple. I think who was with them. But yeah, we haven't really had it. And then I forgot one more, guys. My bad. I forgot one more. Hayden Bray, the redshirt junior. He's been a tight end here for a bit. He's 6'4", 267.
And then, so you couple that with these guys, they got to get better at the pass blocking. They got to get better at some of that stuff. But at catching the football, they got it. So you take all those I heard 6'4", 6'4", 6'5", and then you toss in, I don't know, let's throw a couple of 6'4", 6'5" receivers on top of them. And then let's just go ahead and, I don't know, have a couple guys who, running 4-3, 4-4 slot receiver types. Guys, if the offensive line is good, this team can be a threat. If the offensive line is
very quick,
this team can be a threat. Good.
Very quick.
Not great. And when I say threat, I mean like a player for the national championship. That's where it is. Now, guys, we're not running RPO heavy like we did last year. So that's going to help our offensive line quite a bit. We are going to not do as much hurry up, which is going to help, again, the offensive line a little bit more. We can do a lot of rollouts, and you saw some of the practice notes that's what had been going on here recently is they were doing a lot of rollouts and moving the pocket for Jackson and a lot of quarterback run game. I promise you, if you ever want to lighten up a pass rush, quarterback run game and play action pass, that's it. But you got to run the ball. So you get down and you go, all right, here we go. Let's get an absolute defying run game. Put those offensive linemen, give them one goal. Our goal is to run the ball first and foremost. Let's go. Also, the air raid components of that, Jay, is they're going to get the ball out of their hands pretty quick. And so with that air raid, you guys got to remember, I mean, it's been a while since we've been around the air raid. It feels like, and it's only been 3 years. But when you roll out the Levy offense, it's just so much different. So I fully believe that we don't need to freak out about this offensive line anymore at this point. You've got one of the world's best offensive line coaches. Everything else around them is not only performing but excelling. And so, I mean, if we're returning a good offensive line right now, Jay, there's none of us sitting here not talking about the national championship.
Yeah, 25 was the year that I was expecting us to really be competing. That gives Jackson Arnold about a year and a half of experience to play. Now, all right, so, but going from there, make sure you hop in the comments, hit the like button. Hop in the comments. Let me know who's coming to the spring game. I'm going to ask y'all this every week, so make sure you be prepared to put it in there that you're going. I'm going to be there. Who's going to be at the spring game? I want to know who's going to be there so that we can make sure that we, at least shake hands and toast a beer together or whatnot. I plan on hanging out in Norman the entire day, so let us know if you're going to be at the spring game. We want to know. We can find a spot to kind of all link up. We'll figure that out the Sunday, actually the Wednesday before spring game. I know we can talk about it. So, yes, it's beautiful to see some of y'all going to be there. This will be my first one in a while. I usually like to sit at home and watch it so that I can record and jump right back on and then, hop on live and talk about it right afterwards. This year I said, nah, we're going to the SEC. I need to be boots on the ground, recording stuff, boots on the ground. So we'll be down there hanging out. Coop, you talked about wide receiver room, man. And, not to keep everybody for too much longer, but because we're already about to hit up about this on this hour, but I want to say this. Keaton had this great question. This was earlier. Said I was going to start, and I did. Portal guys. Who do we think's going to hit the portal? And Keaton, I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be honest, straightforward, and be 100% straight to you. And we'll answer this one afterwards about the record. But, be honest. I don't see anyone of the last 3 recruiting classes hitting the portal. I don't see it. And I only say that because I think a lot of the guys that on scholarship that we've brought in want to see what this really looks like after being in this system. It feels like they're selling depth, doing whatever they can NIL to take care of people. Because the big thing with the NIL here is, and I think this is kind of the misconception of us being quote unquote broke, is that even Venables mentioned they do a lot of spreading it out, spreading the wealth amongst the team. They try to make everybody feel comfortable and happy or whatnot. Of course, your more stars guys will probably get other deals and endorsements and stuff, but for the most part, they're spreading it to get everybody comfortable. Now, from that piece, I don't see anybody leaving this time around. I did have like 6 people on my list of people that I anticipated going, but I think honestly, I don't think we see anybody portal until after next season. I think next season, I'll probably have a list of people that'll end up portaling after we go through a year in the SEC. But I think the rest of these guys actually want to see what it looks like, right? And they actually understand that health is a very real factor when you go to the SEC. Health is critical because there's a good chance if you didn't get to start a job this time, okay, but there's a good chance you're the guy in front of you. He may get a stinger, and you got to go in more often than you expect. There may be a lot of dudes splitting a lot of time, and it's not because of bad play or anything. It could be health wise. Now, are we getting anybody in the portal? Absolutely. We will be going after some offensive linemen. We need some more O linemen. We need to get some more because of health, right? We'll probably get at least 2. Probably interior offensive linemen to add depth. And I sense that we'll go for 2 interior defensive linemen just to add to that. So, because on the defense side, we picked up edge in Caden Woolard, who's a monster. A monster. No, see, Space Commander, that is very much incorrect. So you would think we would have to get guys to portal because we have too many scholarships. Players. But guess what we also have? We have NIL Plus, baby. All you gotta do is throw some of these dudes on NIL and let the NIL pay for it. And a lot of these dudes are willing to take it. You probably would especially do that with your grad guys. If you put your grad guys on NIL Plus, let the NIL pay for their graduate school, which is, of course, cheaper than it is for your undergrad, they're good. Housing's taken care of. Tuition's taken care of. Yeah. Because grad guys ain't taking as many classes anyway as the undergrads. Yeah. That's the thing you got to remember. So a lot of these guys, the numbers aren't real anymore. Just keep that 85 is the number it ain't real. You're going to see a whole bunch of dudes getting a NIL plus deal where we're paying for their school without them being, taking up a scholarship spot. Remember that. That's the thing about it. So, yes, people are going to shift up and down. That don't mean they're going to leave. Their school still paid for, and they still get money on NIL. Think they're going to be good. So we've got that taken care of. But we've built that, as Hank mentioned, we're building a culture that a lot of these people want to stick around. So, Coop, everybody's asking this question. We get it every show. Record. As we go through practices each week, I ask myself, did my numbers go up or down? I still have us. I'm not even going to give you a floor or ceiling. I'm just going to give you a number. 10-2. I won't tell you who we won, who we going to beat, or who we going to lose to. I'm going to say 10-2. And we will get we'll dissect this more right before the season. I'll give you a final prediction of what the record is. We'll both will, as well as who we lose to and who we beat. We'll do that in the fall. But as of right now, I'm going to say 10-2. Coop, who you got? What you got?
I mean, I got 10-2 also. I just think that I think that the offensive line in full force, I believe in Jackson. I believe in the defense. I believe in the skill positions. So that leaves my offensive line. So I just got to look at facts. We have a very good offensive line coach. We have very good offensive staff that can help us around some offensive line turmoil. I think we go 10-2. I think that, again, we are sitting here at the end of the season, and you're sitting there staring at 10-2 and wondering, damn, if we could have just done that, we would have been 11-1. Guys, like that's where we hover. Like, don't let the year one of Brent Venables, don't let that get in the way, because with that one out of the way, it's not. But yeah, it's for every single bit of excitement that Texas is getting, I'm all for it. Let them have all the excitement, because I don't understand how you use every single bit of productivity and leave yourself with a confusing quarterback and all of a sudden feel like you're going to repeat your, once in a lifetime season you had last year. Like, Texas overachieved last year.
Mm-hmm.
They overachieved. I don't understand how you could sit there and say Texas is ready to go SEC style when their lackluster defense loses all their playmakers, and I don't know, they're getting DWIs right now too. But then you also lose all of your offensive skill positions. Like, that just doesn't make sense. You take away your best defenders, your offensive skill positions, and you're going to do the same thing you did the year before, which you've never done in the past 20. Like, what? So, guys, 10-2 is it. And I think that, again, at the end of the year, we're sitting here wondering, if we would adjust XYZ, we'd be 11-1.
Yep. And that's the thing too. Our schedule last year, man. I mean, I know, we were upset about those losses. I am too. A little, completely perturbed about it. But I went and looked at who we played against last year. And did y'all know that going back to the Big 12, we played against one. Let me see. Who is this? Iowa State finished what? 7-. So we beat 7-6 Iowa State. Kansas finished 9-4. West Virginia finished 9-4, and we beat them. We lost to a 9-4 Kansas. We lost to a 10-4 Oklahoma State. Like, we didn't. All of the teams were, double-digit wins, similar to Texas, right? They just ran through the conference a little bit better than we did. Unfortunately, our losses came in conference. Theirs came out of one in conference, one out of conference. But we didn't lose to like scrubs.
Yeah.
Right? But losing to any Big 12 team sucks. Period. I get that. I'm 100% in that camp. I just like to remind people that we just didn't lose to scrubs, though. Like, they just weren't god awful. If we would have lost to Cincinnati, then maybe, I probably would have lost my mind. 10-4 and 9-4. Two teams we lost to. Not bad.
Yeah.
If you're going to lose to anybody, lose to teams with like 9 or 10 win seasons, right? The 6-7 season, Sooner Cowboy, you're right. But we also had to go through and do a lot of cleanup. And that's the thing I appreciated about Venables and them is that they didn't take any shortcuts. They basically said, no, we need to clean up what we're doing here. And so sometimes sucks. I mean, you lose 5 games to like a score or less. But yeah, you could have won those. We bounced back. That's what's most important. And so yeah, I'm proud of what we did. I'm proud of where we're going. There's a lot of great things coming down the line. We've got a lot of commitments coming up. Last thing before we wrap up, I want to talk some of these offensive guys in practice again. Running back, hey man, Javonte Barnes sounds like he's back there, but Caleb Hicks, be prepared. Be prepared. Caleb Hicks, man. He's making noise. My boy Megwa is starting to get some touches, and that knee's starting to look better, even though he's suing University of Washington right now, which is a very interesting thing that's going on with that. But guess what? Caleb Hicks is doing something cool. What you hear about Hicks, man? I know you've heard some. Hicks sound like he's getting special. Buy some stock, guys. Buy some stock.
Guys, Caleb Hicks is, when you had Perion Winfrey walk off the bus, you looked at him and you thought, damn, like that's not guy that I want to mess with. And
Nope.
they're starting defensive tackle. That's exciting. But Perion Winfrey, I mean, ask anybody besides Brock Purdy. Perion Winfrey never fully reached what he was supposed to. Caleb Hicks last year, they used to say that when you saw AD or Samaje Perine, like you're like, oh, whose dad is that? And they're like, oh, that's an 18-year-old boy. Oh, shit. Okay, that's crazy.
Wait, that's a dad? Oh, wait, that's a player?
Yeah, and so now Caleb Hicks last year looked like that. This year he looks even better, and I think that running the ball, he's got the top end speed. He's a one cut guy. Caleb Hicks is going to be one of those ones where we're like, how the hell did we not think about him? Because, man, remember, when Samaje Perine committed, I don't remember freaking out about Samaje Perine. I don't remember too many people getting excited. It was like, oh, yeah, cool, he's coming too. So Caleb Hicks, we could go in a lot more. And, if he turns out to be a baller, I mean, he was a very, very, very loyal person. And so him showing up, he is going to be a stud. It sounds like you go Sawchuck, Barnes, Hicks, and those last two are 2A and 2B, and then you still got guys behind him that are also studs too. So yeah, it was 100%. It was Mixon that had all the hype with that. But I mean, I'm still saying like I'm still excited about Xavier Robinson just because I think he could be a Derrick Henry clone. Now Derrick Henry is one of a kind type of dude, but that's the comp. So Hicks is balling. He is learning the game. He is learning how to be a football player instead of a runner, and that's great. The running backs are getting a lot of balls out of the backfield, which was a completely almost forgotten about part because bringing up Mixon, how many times did we throw swing passes to Mixon and just watch him run for 30, 40? I mean, shit, if you're playing Texas Tech again, Mixon might be the all-time college receiver, leading receiver if we play Texas Tech 3 or 4 times a year. But he could catch the ball out of the backfield. And he was a stud. Caleb Hicks looks like this. So we'll just say this, is if our offensive line can run block, we got some running to do.
Right. And then we can't forget about Sam Franklin. He's a running back. Like, he understands how to play the game as a running back. And heard that he's doing well. Hicks is standing out again. We just need to get him some carries. Barnes is healthy. And he's healthy. That's all that matters, is he's healthy. Like, even Barnes said it himself that he wasn't healthy last season. And it showed. It showed on the field. I think he gets his head back into the game, and he does it. So, I don't know. Coop, there's so much more we can dive into, but we've got this week of practice that we got to wait for all the notes to come out. Of course, Venables is going to do what he does best. He's going to let our people in for let the people in to watch the practice, which is going to be even more exciting. He's going to let them in, so we'll get that. We'll get all of the beat writers talking about it. So the beat writers will be in there. They're going to give us the notes. It's going to be a great week. Keep your eyes open for that. I'm expecting commitments this week. I'm hoping we get 3, maybe 4, leading us all the way up into the spring game. And I expect a commitment at spring game too. This will be the earliest that we'll be going. I'm just going to warn y'all now. The 26 class will not be having commitments this early. We don't typically do this. Because once you commit, we want you to be done. And a lot of these kids want to enjoy the process. And unless you find a dude that don't want to enjoy the process, he's like, nope, I'm Gucci. Then we're solid. But I expect a very nice Wednesday with you all. So wrap this up. Coop, final thoughts, then we can get on up out of here.
Well, I don't believe that aliens are coming, and I don't believe the rapture is happening tomorrow. But don't forget about that eclipse. Get out there, see that bad boy, because I mean it's a cool thing. I'm excited about this season, guys. Like at this point, everybody's really, really excited, right? But I'm trying not to be a homer. The undeniables are the offensive weapons are silly. The defense experience is silly. The new people that we're folding in, that's silly. Our offensive line, trust the process with Beatonbow, and trust the fact that we've got a coaching staff who knows what we're going to have to get through. None of them want to show up and get punked in the SEC year one either. We don't want that. We're all going to have massive reactions in 2 weeks when Chapman McNown runs for like 185 yards in the spring game. So, don't forget, there's always a receiver and a running back who will never see the field at OU who balls out. And so, I expect that to happen. But go there, be there, have fun. We're going to have, if you can make it to the spring game, get out there because we're going to have people there. We're going to have recruits, and we got to this is SEC. This is SEC football from this point on. There's no more Big 12. It is over. We are in the SEC starting now. So this will be technically our first SEC football event.
Oh yeah, oh man. It feels so exciting to say that, right? Feels so exciting, right? We're gonna get some really good news this week, so I'm not concerned about that. Yeah, after losing softball, that hurts. The girls will be fine though. I think that they'll bounce back and figure out next season. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun. So, all right, thank y'all for pulling up as usual. Sorry, Coops. Mike was acting weird. It's on me. I'm traveling, so everything is kind of weird because of that. But we'll be back. Probably won't go Wednesday. Maybe Thursday instead, or we'll just push it to the weekend. We'll just see what happens. And yeah, hopefully we get some commitments to be able to really talk about it deep. So make sure y'all hop in the comments and let us know y'all thoughts. We've asked some questions throughout the entire show. Make sure you give us some of those replies. Like, share, rate, review. If you're listening, if it's 5 stars, you don't think we deserve it, give us 5 anyway. And with that, Coop and I will chop it up with every single one of y'all. What are we gonna say?
Later.
I don't know. Sometime later. We're just gonna go with later. Is that what we're gonna do? I guess we could just say later.